today's video, we're going to talk about whether you could become a field inspector with a not so squeaky clean background. And of course, I did some research for you guys because I didn't know offhand myself, and I was wondering the same thing. And since I have a few of you asking me, I decided I would look it up and help you out so that you don't have to worry about it yourself, okay? So I was surprised to hear that there are some instances where they will actually accept you if you do have a background. So we're going to get into that, and I have notes because, of course, you know, I remember all this offhand, okay? All right. You can become a field inspector with a criminal record, but it depends on the type of conviction, the company or clients you're working with, the type of inspections you're doing, and how much time that has passed since the offense. So let's just break this down just a little bit. Misdemeanors are non-violent offenses. Most inspection companies do not automatically disqualify you and your application to minor or non-violent criminal offenses like shoplifting, disorderly conduct, DUIs, things of that nature. Especially if the charge was several years ago, you've demonstrated rehabilitation, the crime isn't related to theft, fraud, or violence. And we're going to get into that just a little bit a little later on, okay? Many of them consider applications on a case-by-case basis, okay? And what they care about is professionalism, timeliness, attention to detail, and respect for property and privacy. Respect for property and privacy, which was one of the main reasons why you can understand why they do not want to hire someone who has sticky fingers. So if that is what the offense is, then yeah, you may have a hard time. All right, so if you're doing exterior inspections only, some companies are way more flexible, and you can understand that because you won't be interacting with nobody. You don't have to go inside of anybody's house. You're just simply outside. Roll up, take some photos, turn in your paperwork. If you're doing a contract, if you're on the apps, of course, you already know that's free nearly for everybody. So if you did want just some little quick income and you know your background has reached an all-time height, then yeah, you may just want to consider the apps. But if you're doing a contract, most of them will not turn you away, especially for exterior only photos. And that's because the risk is way lower. They don't have to, once again, worry about you communicating with people or entering inside of people's homes. You are an independent contractor and you are hired as a 1099 contractor. Okay, so what this means is that sometimes as an independent person, you get to have a little leeway, which explains why people who find themselves in situations, but sometimes it's things that they cannot control. I mean, you can control how you react to things, but sometimes people find themselves in situations that really are out of their control or seriously might not have been their fault. And even after they find a way to clear themselves, they just can't seem to find work because this stigma has been attached to their name and their background, making it hard for them to be productive. Which is why people take up trades and learn welding and get their certification for electrical work and plumbing and all of those different types of skills that you could possibly do that does not require you to have a employer. So you begin to work for yourself. That's why they open up storefronts and start selling products and all of this different stuff. And I don't know whether you've been living under a rock or not, but I haven't. And I know for a fact that there are a lot of people out here, the majority of people out here, who are filthy rich. They are rich because of their skill. And a lot of them have a background. Okay, so I hope that kind of makes you feel a little bit better based off of what I've told you so far. Okay, so while they still run background checks, okay, they have discretion over whom they accept. So just like I said, it depends on the company and the clients, especially in areas where high demand, okay, and low coverage. That is a fact. If you're living somewhere where there's high demand but low coverage, you can expect to get some contracts. And the only thing that is stopping you from at least getting one is the fear that you will be turned down and not actually applying in the first place. So you want to make sure that you apply for companies just to give your own self a shot, because you don't know who on the other side of your computer screen, while you are hesitating and procrastinating to apply, is ready to give you a shot. Okay? As long as you've been honest about it, most of them will not disqualify you faster than your actual record itself. And you've seen that. There has been people who are watching me right now who has probably went and applied for a job, a regular job. And when you get to that question that says, have you ever been convicted of something, even if it's the minor thing, they may say no. Some companies don't even check, but the majority of them do. And it may take them longer than you think it's going to take them. And some people have already started working. They're at the job and get pulled off the job because they lied on their application. And then there are people who tell the straight truth and be still working, and you are now unemployed. So being dishonest won't get you too far. But, to each his own, okay? I'm just a reporter today. I'm just reporting the news today. I'm just telling you. And maybe you could take it from there, okay? When you cannot be an inspector with a criminal record. Okay, so here we go. Felony convictions, especially recent or violent. Most of them will not contract with you if your record includes violent felonies, assaults, crimes involving the little ones, burglaries, home invasions, fraud, identity theft, or financial crimes. Because you are entering into people's private properties, which means you have access to all of their personal and financial documents. And insurance companies, they want to protect their reputation and reduce any sort of liability. The insurance can refuse entry or complain if they find out about a criminal record from the contracted inspector that came to their home. And I know a lot of you are probably like, how do I have access to their personal and financial documents? Once again, you have entry into these people's private property. You are in their homes doing insurance field inspections. And while you're in their homes, you are able to see stuff. People are not putting things away. I'm going to use me for example. People most of the time do not put their belongings away. They know you're coming. You've called them. You set an appointment. They know that you're on your way. They are expecting to see a professional walk up to their door. That's what they're expecting. So when you walk in their door and they say, have your way, which most of them will, they're not following you through the house. I've been to multitudes of homes where they don't follow you through the house. They just be like, okay, go ahead. Especially if they have children, if they're cooking, whatever the case may be. And they let you roam and get those photos. But the way I've always done it is, when I go down through the hallway, when I hit that bathroom, I say, okay, I'm going to get an image up from under your sink. They can hear me. Okay. Bedroom, same thing. I'm going into the bedroom now. I'm going to get you such. Okay. You get what I'm saying? And even if they are following you, and when they get ready to turn around and come out of the room, they're leading the way. And suppose they got watches. You have sticky fingers. And they have watches and all kind of stuff sitting on the dressers and all of this stuff sitting around and paperwork, and they done left their wallet sitting there, or they got cards sitting out, and don't nobody say, well, who in the world leaves their stuff out? All the time. Especially when you live by yourself and you're taking care of business in your house. You should not be worried about having to hurry up and put your stuff away when nobody's there but you. But you're not going to think to put everything away just because the inspector comes. So no, they don't want you to have access to a person's home if you have that type of a background. And yeah, it is what it is on that, okay? So you're doing in-home inspections, direct contact with insureds. What type of a background do you have? See, some of these questions are self-explanatory, and a lot of people shouldn't be asking them because they know already, depending on how bad of an offense they have in their past, they already know they have that it may be a next to none go. Because when you are having contact with people, and suppose you have a violent shriek inside of you, and as soon as someone looks as though they're saying the wrong thing to you, you catch offense really quick because it's in your nature. You should not be in a personal, private, one-on-one spot with anybody conducting business. You know, at least this is the way the companies feel. Now, I'm not knocking anyone, okay? So let me make sure I say that. If you have been one of those people and you have went through rehabilitation, okay, I don't know how else to put it. If you are one of those people and you have been through rehabilitation, or however you say it, because y'all know what I'm saying, and people are just not giving you a shot, and you're catching a hard time finding employment and all of those different things, hey, what can I say? I'm sorry you're having to go through that. But this is a serious thing that we're doing here. We are inspectors, and we are having to go inside of people's homes, and we are having to meet people, and we are having to go inside of people's properties and commercial buildings, and we have access to other people's apartments, inside of people's businesses, and we're inside of the main offices. A lot of times I go inside of commercial buildings and all of the security system and stuff like that, depending on the company. When they ask what type of security system they got, do they include fire, the burglary, and all that different stuff? A lot of times it's inside of one little office space over in the cupboard somewhere, and then I have to go back off in there and open the door and walk in there, and I'm looking at all kind of stuff. You have to be someone that they can at least feel like they can trust to get off inside of these locations, handle business, be professional, be a people person, be nice and kind, and deal with these people in a professional manner, take care of your business, and get out of there. And sometimes I do understand that people who have a record get a bad rap. Like I said before, those of you who are out here and something has occurred and it's something on you and it's something you actually did not even do. But it is what it is. It's just the way the entire system is made up. Okay? So you're going through private areas of the home. You're reviewing sensitive documents. And a lot of times the sensitive documents can be anything. It could even simply just be the files. Because these companies are very, very, very strict when it comes to talking about their paperwork, showing stuff on their paperwork, and all of that. And trust me, I had to learn that myself, because apparently your girl didn't read the privacy and procedures, okay? But then I had a couple of snitchers that's sitting in the back of the class, listening and watching everything that I do. So they went running and telling. And when they tell on me, I learned then how serious the privacy of those documents are. Even the person's name. Sometimes people have their names on paperwork at home, and they may have other people who've signed paperwork for the home. So you got family members and everybody. You get what I'm saying. There's plenty of stuff you can see that you should not be seeing inside of a home. Some people pretend to be inspectors, pretend to be plumbers, pretend to be delivery people, pretend to be all type of stuff just to get off in a house. There's been instances where people have pretended to be somebody, get in there just to case the place, ask a few little questions, walk around and case the place a little bit, see what these people got inside their house, see what they can snatch up, and then leave and either return later or send somebody else. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you would understand that. Companies run background checks. They're sending you onto insured's property, and any misconduct could result in lawsuits or lost contracts. Many insurance carriers require their vendors, which is going to be your company, to screen the inspector, because the insurance carrier want to know for a fact that they can trust you. Well, it's not for a fact, because a lot of people do crummy stuff and just never get caught. But they still want to make sure that at least according to records, you are squeaky clean, okay? They want to avoid bad PR or legal issues from any incident involving someone with a serious criminal background. So they have hired you, a contract company has given you a contract, has not checked you at all. You have some serious issues going on with you, mentally or whatever it could be, and they hire you to do some sort of inspection inside of someone's home, and something horrific happens and it all points back to you. It's not going to just point back to you. It's going to point back to the insurance carrier and the company. Everybody can look to be sued. Everybody. So it's very, very serious when it comes to who they are going to allow to do this type of work. Put the shoe on the other foot. If you know that you have been living your life and you've managed to stay out of any type of trouble, you've not had anything bad or horrific happen to you at all, and I'm not gonna call their name, a internet provider decides that they need to come by your house and check your box because the service has been out all day in your area. So they're coming to check the boxes in the area. I'm just making up something. I don't know how they, but you get what I'm saying. Just coming up with something. Okay. And so you get a call and they say that somebody will be there between the window of 10 and 12. And the technician from the company shows up. It comes in, you open the door, they have on their shirt, they got their name badge right here, so you can see exactly who they are, and they're smiling at you all nice and stuff, and they come in your house, and we're not even gonna, stuff pop off. Okay. That should not be occurring in a professional environment, which is why they make sure they check and see exactly what you have going on in your background. So I'm going to make a few suggestions to you. If you do have a background and you are attempting to become a field inspector, okay? So listen up. Apply for multiple companies, because some companies will let you slide. Remember now, if you have a horrible offense in your past, I don't know what to tell you, but if you are not that person and you just do, you know you have something on your background, to apply for multiple companies. Go ahead and give yourself a shot and let the company decide whether they're going to give you a shot. So apply for multiple companies. Be upfront about your background. Be ready to accept the fact that you may only have exterior access, at least in the start, because it could possibly change. Build a solid reputation as an inspector. Okay, be professional and do everything that you need to do to show yourself approved, because you're going to need to start small in order to grow some sort of trust. So I hope that that was able to help at least someone who is still wondering. And you're probably watching my videos, and you're probably seeing me and probably seeing a lot of other people all over the internet talking about being a field inspector, and you got some little misdemeanor or something that you have going on in your background, and it is driving you crazy because you know it's there and you don't even want nobody to even know you have it, because you've grown and progressed since then, and it's embarrassing to you, and so you want to try, you just afraid to step forward. There's your answer. Go ahead and give it a shot. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, share if you feel the need to. I'll be bringing you back something later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.